Yeah, no, I'm live, so it's working, it's happening. So please send people over, and I'll tweet that link as well. Yeah, Bart, I got your communications check. I'm here. We're just waiting for everybody to be redirected over from the many other links that we had before we got to this actual Google Hangout. I've got a viewer. Hi, hello. Ask me a question. Two viewers. Hello, everybody. Welcome, both of you. I'm very grateful you decided to join me here today. There will be some links coming up here in the Q&A that will hopefully be useful if you haven't submitted a seminar yet. For instance, the link to the how to write great proposals and give great seminars should be the ultimate Q&A FAQ type thing for anyone who hasn't submitted a seminar this year, and indeed especially for people. Oh, I've got a question from Anne here saying, Philip, why don't you go ahead and start? I think I have started. I think everyone can see me now, so let the questions commence. So Anne or Christine or somebody is going to put up those links. It's a full-on long article all about what I think would be useful information if you haven't written your proposals yet, or if it's your first time at the Tails and you haven't written your proposals yet. Something else that we did was pick 3 of the top 10 highest scoring seminar proposals from last year, from 2014, and put them up just to show you what was considered to be a really, really good proposal by the committee last year. I think 2 of them featured Dave Wondrich, which isn't unusual, and 1 of them featured Declan McGurk, who is a bartender who had, I think, never been to Tales of the Cocktails before, had never written a proposal, and he did really, really well. So that gives some kind of an idea. I wonder how I reply to these questions. I mean, maybe I just done. Okay, so that one's done. And I'll pick Anne's question here and say, why don't I go ahead and start? Well, as far as I'm concerned, I have started. Oh, now I've got 7 viewers. Hello, everybody. Do you like my hallway? This is a New York apartment, and I'm sitting at my desk because that's where I can put a little riser so I can sort of look you in the eye. So we have this thing going on. I guess if I move across a little bit, be more in the center. Nah, it's probably useless. Probably most of you are watching this on your phone anyway. So, okay, so I've answered Anne's question. So I guess now this is where I ask you to submit your questions. You could also text me if you want. I'll see if I've got any tweets or stuff coming in, because I have rather idiotically messed up the Google Hangout earlier today. Let's see. Questions on Twitter. And we're live again. Well, let's see. So continuing on with this Hangout, much like before, we'll put up those links with the details of the link to how to write great proposals. It's on the Tails website. And if you Google Tales of the Cocktail, write great proposals, you can find the link yourself. I think that that's the most useful information you can have, because every great Tails seminar starts with a proposal. So far, I've had many friends and acquaintances and people I don't know call me, have a chat with me in a bar, send me an email, and it's always along the same lines, like, here's my idea, what do you think of it? And I'll be honest and say that I haven't heard a bad idea yet. I really and truly, I'm not saying that to be nice, but I haven't heard a bad idea yet. I've heard some ideas that I think are maybe better, but I haven't heard any bad ideas. However, good, bad, indifferent, or amazing, there is no idea strong enough that you don't need to write a proposal, because an idea is just that, an idea. It's out there, it's in the world. But a proposal is the first step into making that idea a reality. So I cannot stress enough the importance of writing a great proposal. Oh, first question from Ben. Thank you, Ben. In terms of historical seminar submissions, does there need to be a cocktail application? Really good question. You don't necessarily have to serve cocktails at your seminar, but there are a couple of things to consider. One is that seminars are sponsored. If you submit your proposal without a sponsor in place, the Tales of the Cocktail team will go out and try and find sponsorship, and it will almost certainly be from a liquor company. Now, in a perfect world, seminars wouldn't be sponsored. They'd be completely free of sponsorship and influence at all. But those seminars would cost $300 or $400 each for a ticket, instead of about $50, which is currently the case. We're fine with sponsorship because we have, over a decade and more of doing Tales of the Cocktails, built relationships so that brands know to present skewed or biased information. And the best brands only want to be associated with Tales seminars because they give great, useful information to people who need it. The second thing to consider is it's Tales of the Cocktail. So if there's no alcohol or cocktail oriented application or aspect of your historical proposal, then how appropriate is it for Tales of the Cocktail? It might be that we're talking about things that are really old and haven't been made or poured or shaken or stirred in a long time, but that's only exciting. I hope that answers your question, Ben, but stick up another one if it doesn't. I'll take that one as done, because I can't see any of you, and I've no idea if that's a useful thing or not. But while I wait for some more questions to pop up, I'll just go back to writing proposals. Everyone has to write a proposal. I have to write proposals. And just to reiterate, any advice I give you about the quality of your idea, your proposal, is non-binding. I don't even sit on the committee anymore that evaluates seminars. I recruit them, but that's it. I do read all the applications, but my feedback is purely personal. Speaking as one person who's been fortunate enough to get his proposals generally accepted over the last few years at Tales and teach seminars. Who knows what the committee is going to go for? The link with the sample of high scoring proposals from last year is useful, but it's non-binding. You could submit exactly the same thing again this year, and it might not get the same high evaluation that it did. Something to emphasize about proposals also, before I get into the nitty-gritty, is there's no yes or no at any stage when a committee member evaluates a proposal. Instead, every single line of the proposal is scored by a committee member. And those scores, ranging from very good to very bad, are converted into numbers using a program that no committee member actually gets to see. And all the committee members' scores are ranked in a spreadsheet. So we get a ranked list of the highest scoring proposals and the lowest scoring ones. And every aspect of your proposal is scored. So I cannot stress enough how important it is to fill everything out and really think about what's going to be appealing to the committee. And largely, you could just think, what's going to be appealing to me, or to a bartender who has traveled, maybe from a long way away, spent a lot of their own money to get to Tales, sacrificed a week's worth of salary and tips, and paid out a load more money to buy tickets to these seminars, maybe by people that they've never seen, people they've dreamed of meeting, like Steve Olson or Dale DeGroff for years. What's going to get that bartender to put down $50-odd for a ticket? And if you can answer that question and you're happy with it, then I think you're halfway on the road to getting a great proposal. Writing great proposals is a different skill set to having great ideas, and it's a different skill set to giving great seminars. In an email earlier on, I gave the example that it's sort of like a movie trailer. Very often, directors don't make the trailers for their own movies. They hire somebody else to do it, because making an amazing trailer is a very different skill to making a 90-minute film. So, here's a question from Anne. Maybe you can address the fact that it does not matter if you've never submitted a proposal before. We're always looking for great new presenters. This is a really useful reminder from Anne there. My personal goal as a Tales director is to get as much fresh blood into Tales as possible. So last year, we had about 28 or 30% of the presenters were brand new to Tales. And that's, frankly speaking, a lot of work from me, because it's great to have new presenters at Tales of the Cocktail, but they've got to be good. And if they're new, how good are they? Where have they spoken before? If they're just okay this year at Tales, can I gamble on them being better the year after if they come back again? So a lot of my time around December, January, February is spent researching new presenters. But I urge you to put in your proposals. If you've never presented at Tales before, that's absolutely no barrier. And we hope that the links that we've put out there with how to write great proposals and the sample high-scoring proposals from 2014 will be useful. I guess something else that I could say here is you absolutely do not need to submit a proposal with sponsors in place. It's nice if you do, but it gives you no advantage in terms of being evaluated by the committee. The committee don't care. These people are volunteers who slogged through over 300 proposals over the Christmas holidays. So the question of influencing them is frankly bonkers. And there are so many different committee members in so many different countries who work with so many different brands that there really couldn't be any bias, even if you wanted there to be. Working with a sponsor will make your proposal look more attractive if you've got a genuine partnership with a sponsor. So supposing you want to do a seminar about whiskey. Well, if you say in the seminar that you're working with this distiller and they're going to make these special samples that people can taste, that's cool. But if you just say, well, I've secured sponsorship from XYZ and they're going to give us a bit of money, that's not as useful, you know? So please don't think that you have to have all your sponsors in place. You totally don't. Tales of the Cocktail staff will take a high scoring proposal, one that's in like the top 70 or so, and they will then go out and find sponsors. So, of course, if you have the sponsors in place already, you have maybe more control over how that's going to be, but the Tales staff will always liaise with you. All right, here we go. But Bart, great looking question. Let me just say, in your submission form, you ask, have you presented at Tales of the Cocktail before? And If no, have you presented at other bartending events? That seems a bit limited. Do you wish people to add in other presentation experience they have? Not really. The real purpose of this is for the committee and I guess myself as well. To if you have presented at Sydney Bar Week, I can call the guys there and say, hey, how was Bart? What was he like? But if you've presented at South by Southwest or some completely different thing, I don't know anybody there, so I can't really call up and ask how you were. I might be able to see it. Of course, presenting is presenting, but some events are quite similar. Like Manhattan Cocktail Classic is not completely different to Tales of the Cocktail. So if you've presented there, that would be something perhaps to recommend you, because there's a lot of similarities between the two. If you've presented at San Francisco Cocktail Week or London Bar Week or Bar Convent Berlin, these are places where I can very easily look up, ask people, hey, how was Bart? And they're also places that are, a pretty good preparation for Tales of the Cocktail. So I hope that answers your question. That's it. Done. It was brilliant. So nice and quiet here. In terms of writing your proposal, which is what this week is all about, I can't stress enough the importance of the title and the description. Less is usually going to be more, and it must grab the attention of the committee members who are spread around the world, work for all different companies, brands, bars. They've all been to Tales multiple times. So what's going to grab their attention? There's also in that How to Write Great Proposals document a link to the seminars that were accepted by the committee for the last 2 years. So anything exactly on those topics is probably going to be harder to slide past the committee this year, because we try not to exactly repeat seminars. Sometimes, like a couple of times a year, we do it, but then Tales the Cocktail chooses those seminars. But if there was a seminar last year about women in bartending, a historical seminar, and you're suggesting a seminar about women in bartending this year, you'd better have some really heavy duty, hardcore new information and new perspectives that wasn't covered the year before. Otherwise, it's almost an exact repeat. So when you've written your proposal, you should run it by somebody. You can run it by me. If you send it to me before Thursday, I'll being tweeted. I'll call you on or before Friday and give you my feedback. You don't have to, it's purely optional. There's no charge and it's non-binding. I could say you have a brilliant proposal and it could still not get accepted by the committee because I'm not on the committee. But especially if you're a first-time proposer or if you're concerned of getting your idea across, it's my pleasure and my responsibility, in fact, to give you some hopefully useful feedback on the quality of your proposal. The reason that we're asking for the proposals to be more complete this year, and the reason that we opened submissions earlier than ever before in September 8th is we've noticed that when seminars are announced and accepted at the end of January, very often people disappear. They've been in brilliant touch with us all the way. They've been asking questions, they've been useful, and then as soon as the seminar is accepted, everybody jumps all over social media, and then there's radio silence. We're calling them, they're not answering, we're emailing, they're not replying. We want to get everybody thinking earlier and earlier and earlier. Who's going to be on my panel? I've got to call them and confirm them. I've got to deliver my PowerPoint by March or April because Philip Duff and his team wants to see it, so that we have a much stronger group of seminars at Tales every year. We need to keep improving. Seminars need to be slicker. They need to keep the promises that are made in the title and the description. We've had remarkably good feedback over Tales of the Cocktail 2014, but when we got negative feedback in a very small amount of cases, it was almost exclusively because attendees did not feel that the seminar lived up to its title and its description. So by getting things going earlier in the new year than previously, we're hoping that by the time Tales of the Cocktail rolls around, if you're giving a seminar there, you will be so practiced, you'll have finished and completed your PowerPoint months before, not hours before, locked in a hotel room in New Orleans. Your panel will be there, you'll have met them, you'll have all your giveaways and goodies and takeaways all set, and you'll be able to focus on entertaining and educating a room full of the most clearly passionate and involved people in the drinks business. So that's really where it comes from. Oh, there's 15 of you viewing me, and nobody appears to have any questions. So I could give it a bit more time. Are people firing in emails at me maybe? Let's have a look over here. No, but I did get all the links to all the events just then. There you go. Have a look in my Hotmail, because I still use Hotmail because, you know, I'm from the old school. No. Anyone tweeting me? No. So, one thing, if you're thinking of being involved with Tales and you'd like to be a bit more branded, maybe you work with a brand or a brand wants to work with you, do consider, instead of a seminar, a tasting room. If your idea really is new information or new perspectives, it totally should be a seminar, and you should put in the proposal. But if you want to really go deep on a brand and get people to sample it and pay less money and have more time, because tasting rooms are 2 hours instead of 90 minutes, consider submitting a proposal for a tasting room. If you email partners@talesofthecocktail.com, we'd be happy to send you the sponsorship deck, the tasting room application link, all that. Because tasting rooms aren't just a second best to seminars. In many ways, they give you possibilities that seminars don't. So, woohoo! Is there a character limit for the event description? I don't think so. No, let me look that up quickly myself. I know it's like 40 characters for the title. In fact, let's see. Seminar submission form. I mean, obviously, you don't want to be taking more than about 2 paragraphs, in my humble opinion, of your description. Because sometimes, actually, you know what, there can't be a limit, because I've seen some really, really long descriptions, but I do 2 paragraphs, maximum 3. And I say your best bet on knowing how long it should be is to ask somebody who isn't your friend or your family or your enemy or a fool, i.e. a fairly neutral person, what they think of it. Because that 40 character title will hopefully get someone to read the description. And if you haven't sealed the deal within 3 paragraphs, or at least come close to it, you might want to consider rewriting. So I hope that answers your question. So, a quick reminder from Anne, just what I mentioned earlier. It really is not in any way compulsory to have a sponsor when you submit to Tales. One of the best things about Tales of the Cocktail is that the best ideas get put on. Not many people know that if the top 75 seminars of the 300 or so proposals, they all get put on, even if there's no sponsorship. The Tales team go out and try to get sponsorship for unfunded seminars, but if there aren't any, every year Tales puts on 3 to 4 partly or completely unsponsored seminars, which cost about $20,000. But that's the bedrock of Tales of the Cocktails. The best ideas get the chance to be seminars at Tales of the Cocktail. And sponsorship is very much a secondary thing. So please bear that in mind. Of course, if you have great relationships with a brand and they're willing to help you with your research, with making unique things to taste, with giving you access to people like blenders and coopers and distillers and researchers and foragers, then that's awesome. And that's something that a sponsor can bring to the table far more than money. Let's see. Yeah, Anne thinks there's no limit for the seminar description either. It's just the title, the 40 characters thing, because that has to fit on the tickets that we print. Machu Pisco. What's the best email to reach me for feedback ahead of the deadline? That's the one on the link, How to Write Great Proposals, Tales the Cocktail. It's Philip with a single L at Tales, sorry, forget that. Philip with a single L at liquidsolutions.org. That's liquidsolutions, plural.org. Philip with a single L at liquidsolutions.org. So get me your proposals before Thursday, together with your cell phone number, and I'll call you on Friday at the latest. I'll try a couple of times, but if I can't get through, I can't get through, and I'll tell you my 2 cents. Obviously, if you get the proposals to me before then, I can call you before then, because everyone's going to be bloated and almost comatose from Thanksgiving turkey. Then back online. Can your seminar cite the work of other prominent professionals? Yeah, I'm not sure what you're getting at there, but if you are presenting ideas or perspectives drawn from the canon of historical or scientific mixology or spirits production, then not only can you, it's better to cite the works of other professionals. So yeah, I hope I've answered the one about emails. There we go. But if you are going to send me something, please send me a proposal. And the reason I bring this up is it's not a whole lot of work to fill out the proposal. You can download it as a Word document, just fill it in. And the only feedback I can give you that's any use at all is about a proposal. If you send me, Dear Philip, this is a standard thing I've had, like, Dear Philip, I don't want to dive in and write the whole proposal, but what do you think of this idea? And as I said earlier on in this Hangout, I haven't heard a bad idea yet, but an idea is nothing. A proposal is the first step into making it something, and a proposal is the only thing that the committee will see. They will only see that proposal. So you have to write a proposal, and writing a proposal helps you to visualize it in your own mind better anyway. When it's an idea, it's extremely exciting and it's nice, but when you start the long process of turning that idea into a reality, the first step is a proposal. So you can send me as many emails as you like, and I'll call you back and give you my point of view. But the only useful feedback is going to be if you send me a proposal, because then I can tell you, all right, if I was writing it, I would do this, or perhaps you'd consider that ahead of time. So, ooh, 13 of you looking at me. I can't help thinking it must be 13 people who are, you know, browsing Facebook or Twitter, and they've forgotten that they still have the Google Hangout window open. So I'm going to give it a few more minutes and think about what would be useful. Well, a big one, if you don't remember it from when you read How to Write Great Proposals, is make sure you have confirmed your panelists before you send in a proposal. Because it really pisses people off if they're named in proposals and no one has consulted them, because you were planning on asking them if or after your seminar was accepted. Now, obviously, if you're talking about famous people like Dale deGroff or Dave Wondrich or the guys from the Dead Rabbit or Eric Lawrence from the Savoy in London, everybody wants to do a seminar with them. But the maximum amount of seminars that any one person can be involved with at Tales is 3, not including said talks. If their names crop up on 7 proposals, which is not unusual, I'll sometimes check with that person. They're like, really? No, I had no idea. Is there an ideal number of panelists? beyond the moderator? Great question. I think there is, and I think including the moderator, the maximum number of people on stage should be 5. Ideal is difficult to answer because in every panel, there's going to be a few different types of people. Usually, you'll have at least one person who's a brilliant public speaker, just by good fortune or by training. You might have 1 or 2 people who aren't brilliant public speakers, but they have fantastic knowledge. They could be research scientists, coopers, they could be the distillery manager, it could be somebody who works for a flavor company, and their job is not and never has been to be public speakers, but they have great knowledge. So you, as the moderator, will draw that out. You have to think to yourself, how are these people in speaking in public before you put them on a panel? And think about yourself. Am I a good enough moderator to draw it out of them? You know, because when you put those people up in front of a room of 150 or more ticket buying cocktail fanatics, which is the case at Tales of the Cocktail, it can be a little intimidating for even the most experienced speaker. So think about the makeup of your panel, and I would hope that's going to be the answer to your question. Like if you have 4 people on the panel who all really don't like speaking in public, things are going to go a little too slowly. And if you have 4 people on your panel who are all fighting for the microphone because they all want to talk all the time, that's probably not the best makeup of your panel either. Just calm down now. I realize I've been speaking an awful lot during this hangout. I assume you can all hear me, because I don't even see the little thing that's supposed to be me down there, but I imagine that I am live. What happens after all the evaluations are done? Well, by start of January or so, we're hoping that the committee, all of the committee, will have evaluated all of the proposals. And in case you're wondering, if a committee member doesn't evaluate all the proposals, that committee member's scores are ignored for any proposal. They either do 100% of the proposals or 0. We'll hope to have all their numbers in by the start of January. That then gives me a spreadsheet with a ranked list. And that's when my work really, really begins. So I go down that list, and first of all, I look for stuff that doesn't belong at Tales. Technically, I have a veto. I've only ever used it once so far. There's a box you tick on the proposal form saying, is this Tales worthy? Right? That's how committee members look at it. Because you can have a great title, a great description. It could be about cocktails, but just be so against the culture of what we do. I'll give you an example. If it was, you know, historical mixology using cupcake flavored vodka, right? You could have somebody write a great proposal, and there's nothing wrong with cupcake vodka, but it doesn't fit the ethos of craft cocktails and Tales of the Cocktail. So I would theoretically use my veto then. So I go down the list looking for stupid stuff. There's almost never any. Then I go down the list and I see, are there recurring themes? This happens every year. We always get loads of proposals about craft spirits. We always get loads of proposals about gin. We always get loads of proposals about wellness and yoga and mindfulness and kale and stuff like that. We usually get loads of proposals about women in bars, women distillers, women drinking whiskey, women. So there's usually some themes that recur from year to year. And if 2 seminars with the same theme are in the top 75 or so, I take a closer look at those to see, okay, are they different enough that we should put both of them on? Are they similar enough that I could convince the people to work together to do one really cool seminar? Should I convince them to make their seminars even different from each other so that I can put them both on? That takes a good bit of soul searching and editing and things like that. So I'll have a look at it that way. I'm already looking to see if any presenter is in more than 3 seminars. I look through all the seminars to see, is there anything that's serving of a larger or a smaller room? Is there anything we've done before? Is there anything that just seems to be a complete copy from the same seminar at another bar show? I mean, obviously there's lots and lots of bar shows and seminar programs now, but we do mandate that something has to be new for Tails. It has to be substantially different to that seminar having been done somewhere else. So if you do the same seminar, the same title, the same kind of description, and you propose it for Tails and you've done it, a couple of months earlier, someone else, then I'll certainly have a look at that, and I might call you up and say, look, you're supposed to do new stuff for Tails. Tails is the big deal, the big leagues. So usually anymore, I don't really need to do that. I'll talk to the Tails people about this to see if they have any input from their various contacts and sponsors. And I'll start calling around and seeing for new speakers, well, how is this person? Has this person spoken before? How was the seminar they gave at X? And I'll make my decisions on who is going to be a Tails presenter or not. Sometimes people request help and assistance, and they want to be paired up with experienced presenters. And we might do that too. And new for 2015 will be point-counterpoint debates. You can submit these as proposals, but you can also have a presentation, and I'll think, that would be great if we had somebody debating the other side. So I'll try to arrange it that the two people debating don't work for the same company, preferably they work for rivals, and maybe I'll suggest an independent moderator as well. But that's brand new for 2015, so we'll be feeling our way a little bit, I think. So we've been on for just under an hour, and I'm out of questions, so I'll give it another minute or two if anyone has any questions, and then we'll wind up this Google Hangout. Obviously, it's going to be archived for all posterity, as well as the two stupid ones that I messed up earlier on. Very sorry if you were confused by that. But don't forget, talesofthecocktail.com, how to write great proposals. If you read through that, it has everything, including the proposal form, that I think you would ever need. There are also links on the front page, I think, and you can look at the @TOTC Twitter and Facebook, because they posted links as well to samples of proposals from 2014 that scored very, very high with the committee, to give you some idea of what worked. And the How to Write Great Proposals text also has all my contact information. I think it's got my phone number as well. So please do send in your questions, and especially your proposals, to me before Friday the 28th. And I will call you on that day if you're available and give you my feedback if you've included your telephone number. So, all right. Again, I am so sorry for all the technical problems starting off. It was all my fault because, as you can see, I am an idiot. Big love to everybody at Tales of the Cocktail, especially Christine, who made it happen again, despite my meddling. And please get in touch with your proposals. I really can't wait to see them. I know they're all going to come flooding in over the weekend before the December the 1st thing. Oh, last question. Hello, Camper. Beyond the title and description, what are the most important fields on the form with regard to seminar acceptance? Brilliant question. I would expect nothing less. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just pull up a submission that somebody has sent in, because I'm copied on all of those, because, you know, I'm important and stuff like that. Job title. Yes, I'll tell you what I think are important ones, right? Just for me. Who are you presenting with and why? So especially if these are people who maybe aren't so well known, a very quick 1 to 2 line description of why they are awesome is very, very useful indeed for the committee to know. A new form is why do you want to present this seminar at Tails? And I urge you to be very, very honest with this, because everybody's working for a living, right? Maybe you're a professional spirits educator like me, and you're being paid by a brand. The brand wants to increase its profile or educate people about it. And a seminar tales is a way to do that without ramming the brand down people's throat. And that's one of the drop-down menu options. If you are not in the world of spirits or bars, but maybe you want to promote your product, like I remember we had a submission last year from a guy who was a professional ID consultant, you know, and he would help make sure that all the IDs in a nightclub or something like that were legitimate, and he would teach seminars about it. And he wanted to teach about that at Tails too, and that's cool. And there are people who are not paid by any liquor company or drinks company, and they just want to present their research on a particular thing. Darcy O'Neill, for instance, is a very good example of that in some of the seminars that he's given in the past, as have you, Camper. So be very, very honest about this. If the committee see that you are employed by a drinks company, you've got your email address at a drinks brand, yet you select, I am not being paid by a drinks firm, I just want to share my passion and research, that's going to come across as a little bit phony. And then, why should the committee accept your proposal? And these are all fields that are only like 1 or 2 sentences long, but I would spend time on those. I hope that answers your question. All right. I just got a message from Anne saying, thank you, Philip, for making yourself available. So I guess I'm done. Yay. I'm going to go and have lunch with Dale DeGroff at Hudson Malone, which is going to make my day immeasurably better. But please, I'm here for you. I work for you, actually. And it would be my great pleasure if I could see as many great proposals as possible. And I'm here to give you all the feedback and the help that you want. So thank you very much for tuning in. And I hope to hear from you soon. Bye.